So you finished your game before the deadline and you're ready to upload it to itch. I have some tips for you. Upload your game early. Start exporting and uploading your game an hour early. This gives you time to test the install and handle any issues that arise in the export process. Organize your export folder. The first game jam I participated in, I exported all of the various versions into the same build folder. I was pretty confused which files belong to which exports. So tip number 1 is to create a separate folder for each export type. HTML, Windows, Linux, etc. You can configure export locations with the export path option. When you export your game, it creates a PCK file. This file contains the resources necessary to run your game. Far too often in people's first game jams, they will fail to include this file, and it makes their game unplayable, which is very unfortunate. There are 2 solutions to this problem. Option 1 is to package the 2 files together. For Linux builds, after exporting, select your game files and zip the files and upload it to itch. For Windows builds, do the same. On Windows, you will compress your zip folders by right-clicking the file and selecting Send to Compressed Zip Folder. For Mac builds, Godot exports a zip file anyway, so you don't need to worry about it. You can also embed the Pck file in the executable. I don't like this option because to be compatible with itch's app, you need to zip the file anyway. And if you use the previous method, then you can use Godot's default export settings. For this option, enable Embed PCK on your export settings. The itch app allows users to install and play their games on their desktop with minimal effort. Easy one-click install. The itch app is unable to launch games uploaded as plain executables. Trying results in errors and stuff. Your game might still be playable, but it requires downloading and running it manually. I find that if I can't launch it in the app or play it in the browser, I probably will just skip it. So yeah, make sure that the file you upload to itch is a zipped file with an executable inside. This makes people less likely to skip over your game because they can't install it automatically. For game jams, if your game is light enough to be played in a browser, then export an HTML version. This is by far the most convenient way to play jam games for most people. So basically, you'll get a lot more eyes on your game if you provide this option. And if there are any issues with your other exports, it gives those users another option to play your game. Itch expects to have an index.html to run your game in the browser. So if you named your export something else, then rename the HTML file to index.html. You can export it as index.html, but it also renames all your other files to index.whatever. So I prefer to export it with my game's title and then rename the main HTML file. After that, zip your HTML build and upload it to itch. Voila. One thing that makes Godot my favorite game engine is the accessible exports. Windows, Android, HTML, Mac, exporting to these is super easy. Exporting to like a bunch of different platforms is so accessible. It's one thing that makes Godot super awesome. Yeah, I would like to remind you that the like button exists as well as the subscribe button. And wow, this is the end of the video now.